welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am venturing out and I'm recapping a different show. I'm recapping The Watcher on Netflix. It's just like a super fun show about a family who's trying to save money just like the rest of us. So if you're into that, keep watching. So I just saw people talking about this on like Twitter and all that, and there might have even been like a podcast ad. I love a good podcast. So that's why I started watching it, and it's really fun. It has Jennifer Coolidge in it, and I love her. So that's kind of the vibe. It's based on like a true story, but not really. I think they took like the premise of what happened and then they like changed everything else. So let me get into it and let's just jump right in. So it's about this family and they move into this big ass house in New Jersey, and they're from New York and they just want to live a simpler life and like get out of the city. And yeah, there's like better schools for the kids to go to and like all that. And so the dad works in the city, the mom is an artist, and they didn't even tell us what type of art she did until like later on. They mentioned in passing that she like does pottery and all that, but it's a very, 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 very small part of the show. It's very irrelevant to the plot as well. But she's an artist, but she didn't even make art. Like, you never even see her, like, doing her pottery shit. Never, ever. So, I don't know why they threw that in there, but that's her. And then the guy, her name is Nora. Now, the man's name, who is, like, the star of the motherfucking show, I don't know what his fucking name is. Like, they never even mentioned it. So, we'll just call him the Italian man. So, the Italian man and his family move into this uppity neighborhood in New Jersey, and they get this big ass house, and it's really like Murder House vibes. If you've seen that on American Horror Story, like the first season, like that is what the vibe is. So that's going on, and the real estate agent is Jennifer Coolidge. Love her. What? That's a heart, right? Love her. Love her. And she's playing the real estate agent, and we just love her. She plays the same character in like every fucking show, but I'm here for it. So here's for Jake Hall. We love her. So she's a real estate agent, and her and Nora had known each other from art school. Neither of them are using that degree, mind you, because J.Co. is the real estate agent, not using the degree. Mom is like basically a stay-at-home mom at this point, but kids go to school, so why are you saying, okay, that's judgment, but not using the degree nonetheless. So that's a little confusing, but it's okay. It's actually very much realistic. Who uses their degree anyways? I low-key do, but who uses their degree anyways? So that's what's happening there. And then they have these weird ass neighbors from the jump. They got this guy Jasper, and he likes to go into their dumbwaiter, which if you didn't know, it's like this old-fashioned like elevator thing people have in their houses, and it's like a pulley. Now this is like from the olden days, like people don't really have that in their house anymore, but that's kind of what it is. And I think it was to get like food kind of like upstairs where it needed to be, or downstairs, I don't know, but to carry that and like other shit, kind of like a laundry chute, I guess, that people don't really have anymore, which they should. I still think that's a good idea. I live in an apartment, so I do laundry like next door and like the laundry like room, but if I had a house, I would love a laundry chute. Like that would be everything. My parents should have one, but they live in a split level. So I think above the laundry room is probably their kitchen. So like how the fuck are you gonna have a kitchen, like a hole in the kitchen to like put your clothes? That's not convenient. But nonetheless, so they have that going on, and it's Jasper, and he's like probably like in his 50s or some shit. He's like an old man, intellectually disabled, doesn't say a lot, does weird shit like come into their house when he's not supposed to, but I just don't think he knows better. But he's still creepy, and he's like boundaries. But yeah, it's probably not his fault. I don't think. It's interesting. It opens an interesting conversation about like disability and intellectual disability and like judgment towards that. But I don't have time for that today. So Jasper was in their dumb waiter, and they're like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out. And that's kind of like their relationship with Jasper so far. Pay attention, because it'll come back around. So that's what was happening. And then guess what? They get a sus letter in the mail, and it's from the Watcher. And it basically says, and this is the part that's based on the true story, it basically says that like, hey, listen, I'm watching you and I see what you're doing, and this house has been watched for years and years, and every time a new family comes in, we watch them. And it seems like it's been like different watchers during the year, and now this guy, like the baton was handed to him, so it's his turn, or hers, we don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what is happening. And so they said, my turn, bitch, thanks for moving in, now I got some entertainment. So this was happening. And it was a really creepy, ominous letter, saying like, I see you have 2 kids, what are their names, like blah blah blah. And then here's the part, it's a little weird. It says, we need some new blood in the house. Ew, what the fuck? So that's basically what's going on. They want new blood. Ew, gross. So that's what's up with that. And then basically the daughter, like, she's like kind of coming into her own. Like, she's 16 and she wants to be hot and sexy. And so she finds this like red lipstick in her medicine cabinet. And what would you do if you found a random person's lipstick?
Get rid of it.
Throw it out? Oh, no. That's not what she did. She put it on her fucking lips. You don't know where that shit's been? What the fuck? But she puts it on, and then she goes downstairs, and her dad, the Italian man's like, what the fuck? Take that off. You're 16. You don't need to wear makeup. I was talking to my students about this. I started wearing makeup when I was like in middle school, like 12. And I've worn it every day since. But for me, it was never like a provocative, bring all the boys to the yard type of thing. I think with some girls it can be, but for me it was literally like, I want to be pretty. So that's kind of what that was. But in this case scenario, I think she is trying to be sexy. That doesn't matter. No, but the dad was basically just like not into it. And then like her bra strap was like showing at one point, and he's like pull that out, or like some shit, like insinuating like that's too sexual or some shit. Very weird, very mild, but I know a lot of people whose like dads are like protective like that. It didn't seem like crazy, because I know there's some dads who like won't let their daughters like cut their hair and shit, which is very, very weird. And like have like purity like balls and like ceremonies. He's not doing that. He's just looking out for her. And now he has a good reason to, because enter the guy that they hired to install their alarm. His name is Dakota, and he wants a piece of that daughter. He's 19 years old, she's 16. It's a little weird. Not completely, like when I think about it, like here's the thing, like being in high school and not being in high school is completely different. But if he literally just graduated high school like in the last year and she's like a junior, like is it that weird? I don't know. It's like blurred lines, honestly. I think it's only weird at that point if you make it weird, when it's only like 2-3 year difference Now, if it was any more than that, I think it would be crazy. But I don't think the dad's wrong for not wanting them to be around each other. Especially when they're like hooking up in the pool secretively. If something has to be a secret, then you know it's wrong. So that's kind of where I stand on that. For the sake of this show and this review, like, I'm not going to talk about it that much. Like, I don't think it's that important, but that was kind of what was happening there. Now, the mom got the son a ferret, like, as, like, a gift for moving, I guess. Now, mind you, the son, they never said his age, but he's probably, like, 10, 11. So, she got him a ferret, and then the ferret dies. You know, if there's an animal in the movie, that animal's gonna die. Like, that's just how it is. So the ferret dies, and they call the fucking cops. They call the fucking cops because their ferret was murdered. It's just weird as hell, honestly. And then all their weirdest neighbors come out to watch, like Jasper. And then Jasper's sister also is a key player in this, kind of. Like, them together is really, like, this. That's them. But they come out to watch, and then there was 2 other people who came out, and that is Mitch and Mo. Now, they are a couple, and they can be seen going into the yard of this family's house and, like, chopping up their, like, arugula plant. And I think Mo is the wife. Mo is saying, like, this is, like, our plant, like, it just migrated over, so we're gonna, like, take it. And he's like, please get out the fucking yard. And they're like, no, because this is ours, blah, blah, blah. Like, the last owner is like, let us do this. So, like, it's fine. And he's like, no, I'm not, like, cool with that. Like, get the fuck out. And they're like, no, we're not. And we're gonna have the best fucking salad ever. She literally said that. That's the direct quote. That's what I mean when I say this show isn't, like, too serious. Like, they're having fun with it. I love them for it. It's Ryan Murphy too, and like that sense of humor like always translates over. I don't know, it's so funny. I didn't think it was gonna be funny, and then it was, and I was like, yeah, I like this. So that's what was happening. And then yeah, so they're a part of the like crew come out to like watch when the cops show up, which I get being a nosy neighbor, but you gotta do this shit on the low, you know, like you can't actually take your whole person outside. Like, stay in the house and like maybe like peek a little bit, but don't do all that. Like, that's very ridiculous. And then nothing else really happens that's important in this episode. The mom has been into going to the country club and everything and like playing tennis with Jennifer Coolidge. And then she like joins, even though she's an artist and like she's not like other people. She does that. And then at the end of the episode, they get a letter, and it basically is from the Watcher. And it's saying that like, hey, listen, my job is to obsessively watch this house. I'm so excited that you're here because I'm gonna watch the fuck out of you. I can see you from every single window in this house. Let me know who's better than who so I can watch better. I love New Blood. Like, I'm like really excited for the fucking child sacrifice. Also, the reason you're here is because you're greedy, and that's what drives every like family to this house. They're greedy and like all this shit. So that was episode 1. I loved it. Let me know if you liked episode 1. Let's move on to episode 2. Okay, episode 2. Our Italian friend decides, hey, listen, I need a PI because all the cops could do was DNA test I'm like reading a text at the moment. Okay, they can only DNA test the envelope and send like a cop car to stay outside the house for surveillance overnight. but they can only do it for so long and that's it. So they said, listen, you should probably hire a private investigator at this point. So that's what he does, and he finds this woman, and I forget her name, I think it's Theodora, and she is like telling him her life story. Now, her life story is pretty interesting. She says she was a jazz singer, and he says, why aren't you a jazz singer anymore? And she says, I was also an alcoholic. And then I was married. My husband said, it's me or the booze. And I said, okay, well then it's the booze. So they split up. And you know, she did her thing. And then she like OD'd like on the fucking stage. And then she went to rehab. And then during rehab, all she did was consume true crime content. And she decided, let me be a private investigator. So that's how she became a private investigator. Love her. She said that'll be $100 a week. He said, simply can't do. I'm trying to save money staying in this multi-million-dollar home. And she said, okay, I'll make it $50 an hour. I have cancer though, and that's where we're at. So he said, okay, bet $50 an hour it is. So they're gonna have the renovations done on the house. The neighbors are pissed, by the way, but we'll get into that later. They want to get that fucking dumbwaiter gone, and they want to like get rid of the basement because the letter had said like, oh, you know, you kids can play in the basement and like blah 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 blah. And they're like, absolutely not, basement, bye. So that's where they're at. But the dad is gonna stay at the house while they're doing the renovations, and then the mom and the kids are gonna go to a motel. Now, when they're checking at the motel, the lady's like, why the fuck are you here? You're not like our regular clientele. And I know motels like that. Why? Because when I moved to Arizona, I lived in Tucson, I had to fly in through Mesa. I flew in with like 2 suitcases, and that was it. That's all I had to my name. And I go to the hotel, and the people there are like, okay, we need you to sign this form that says you will not have guests. If you do have guests, they need to sign in at the front desk. They can only be here through these hours. Why? Because that was a prostitute hotel. Yes, people would like go in and, you know, do their thing and like whatever. So that's where I was. This is the same vibe as that. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where they're staying. But it ends up being alright. And that's kind of how it was for me. I only had to stay there one night because I was going to grab the Greyhound in the morning. This is a whole story. So I went to Arizona to do AmeriCorps because I was fucking stupid as hell. And like my escapism gene was like, gotta fucking go. I got in a fight with my mom, and this boy I was messing with, he was just not it. And so yeah, I was like, I have to leave right now. Joined AmeriCorps, position was in Tucson. It was winter. I said yes. So I get to Mesa because I had to fly in through Mesa, and I was gonna rent a car, drive to Tucson. You know, that's that on that. Well, I get there and they're like, okay, we need your credit card. I was like, bitch, I don't have a credit card. I have a horrible credit. So I just have my debit card and that's it. And like, I'm fine. I have an apartment. I have a car. Like, I'm fine with no credit card. Whatever. Well, that's now. Then I didn't have a card. And, you know, I just lived in my apartment, paid with my debit, like whatever. So yeah, I was like, I don't have a fucking credit card. They're like, well, if you steal the car, you know, whatever. So I like cried for like 1 second, and then I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? Let me find a bus. The bus I found was a Greyhound. Couldn't get there till the morning. So I found a hotel closest to the Greyhound, and the hotel ended up being a trap motel, but like whatever. So that's how I ended up there. There was a hole in the ceiling. It was very scary. I FaceTimed my friend all night long, but it ended up being fine. And so it ended up being fine for this family too. What you have to realize is that most crimes that happen against people, whether it's like getting like mugged or whatever the hell, like people have a reason to do it. Like there's very rarely like crimes that are just like random acts. There's usually a reason behind it. So if you didn't do anything or piss anybody off, you're probably okay. So yeah, they're in the like motel, and that's what they did for the time where they're renovating 2 to 3 weeks. Now, the dad is staying home because he doesn't want it to be obvious that they're gone, and he's like trying to like catch predator at this point, and so like that's what he's doing. And then in the night, there's like a ding dong. He gets ding dong ditched. He goes to the door and nobody's there. Meanwhile, while he's like looking, there's like a person you can see, but he misses them. And then you hear the phone ring at the motel. The wife picks up. Heavy breathing. Who is that? And then she asks the person at the front desk of the motel, like, who was it, blah, blah, blah. She says, I don't know. They ask for the room number, and then I just put them through. She says, okay, well, dial star 69. That'll be like the last person who called. Okay, whatever. They dial it. Rings, nobody's there. And then it cuts to their house, and it's their home phone ringing. So whoever called made the call from inside the house. So then, like, we know whoever, like, ding-dong ditched them, like, they're, like, in the house while he was, like, looking around like they were there making the phone call. So that's that. And then moving on, the PI contacts what's his face and says, listen, I know he used to live there. And he says, I don't give a fuck anymore at this point. He gives a fuck. But the alarm guy decides, like, hey, listen, like, I actually was a security guard before, so you should let me be the security guard to the man. And he's like, okay, yeah, bet. But the security guard only wants to be a security guard because he can cop a feel on the girl. But we don't know that yet. Well, we obviously know that yet, but the dad doesn't know that yet, but he will. So that's what happens there, and he's like, okay, great. I have the alarm, I have a security guard, like, cool, awesome. He ends up meeting with the person who used to live there, and the guy is very disheveled. You can tell he's in a bad place in life. And he says, listen, I don't want to talk about this, but I will because nobody helped me, so I want to at least help you. And he tells a story about how, like, he and his wife decided to move to the suburbs, very much like the people in our story, the main characters. And he says, like, when we moved there, like, it was fine, whatever. Like, they had a baby, and, like, the wife had postpartum, like, real bad, and she was not in a good place. And then they started getting letters, and it was really bad, and it was the same letters those people were getting, and things started getting real weird. And Mo and Mitch would, like, watch their son, and one day the son, who was only 3 years old, was like they, like, had, like, some type of, like, cult activity going on, and our friend, the Italian man, was like, how the fuck was he saying there's cult activity happening? Like, he's only 3. And they're like, I know, but, like, let me say what happened. So there's cult activity. The baby saw them, like, standing in a circle in red robes, like, sacrificing a child, which I don't know about that, but there's definitely something weird happening there. And then apparently, like, Mo came out of, like, this secret tunnel underground, and like the baby like had cut himself and she was drinking the blood. Very weird. And then he says after that things got weird, moved back to the city, and like his wife killed herself. Very sad. And that's basically what he had said. He said like living in the house, like ruined his life, he doesn't like to talk about it, and that's that. He said get the fuck out. As they should. Like even like an idiot knows they should get the fuck out. But yeah. And then nothing like, oh, okay, so then Ellie and the camera guy or the alarm guy hook up. We see this coming, like whatever. The neighbors come over and they're like pissed about the renovations that they're doing, and he's basically like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do, it's my house. And apparently they think that he was threatening the neighbors. The man shoots the woman, murder-suicide, and he's low-key happy about it because he thinks that they're the people sending the notes, so he's happily jerking off. And I was like, I don't want to see that. I really don't want to see that. But then like he hears like a noise, like the alarm goes off, and then he goes to the window and it's Jasper looking right at him. And that's where we end off. Thanks for watching this video. If you want me to do more recaps about The Watcher, I surely will. Yeah, bye.